Hey guys, welcome back to 5-9 Gaming. My name is Troko, and today we're going over how to unlock the Knives Out achievement. This is very tricky and a very annoying achievement to get, so I'll cover every major section of the game with tips and tricks as well as what to avoid. So starting out, I recommend only doing this challenge when you have the new Game Plus Karambit weapon. It's Chris's melee weapon that does a ton of damage. I wouldn't recommend doing this challenge without it. You do need to beat the game once to purchase it in the bonus shop, but it does count for this challenge. There is also a lightsaber weapon that should work. I haven't unlocked it yet, and I've already done the challenge, so I can't confirm if it works, but you don't really need it anyways. The Karambit is a good weapon. Secondly, I highly recommend you do this on casual. Doing this on even standard is unbearable, and I doubt it's even possible in hardcore or Village of Shadows for a reason we'll get into later. And of course, there will be some story spoilers here, but no post-game cutscenes or any cutscenes really for the most part. So first things first, grab the knife in this house, and now you don't actually need to fight the first Lycan. You can just dodge him and grab the bolt cutters inside. For some reason, this makes a Lycan run off, so you can easily open the gate without a fight. Now, before you activate the next cutscene in the barn, I do recommend grabbing the herb and the chem food in the building next to you because it's just a free healing item. So once you're in the barn, you do need to kill the Lycan that does come in to progress the game. It's not too bad. One-on-one combat isn't bad with a starting knife. Just block and push off the Lycan and stab once it's stunned. I got bit a few times, but you can play it fairly safe and it's pretty easy to do. But now onto the giant wave of Lycans. This section is just about dodging until the cutscene activates. For this part, just barricade yourself in the shotgun house and hold out until the shelf breaks. I wouldn't even attempt to stab them through it because sometimes they'll clip through the shelf and hit you. I had that happen once in my playthrough. It's kind of annoying, so stand back a bit. What? Once that shelf is broken, run to the barn and just hang out in there for a little bit until they can break into there as well. Next, just climb the ladder and hang out on the roof until they get up there. Pretty much this is about waiting out the clock, essentially. You don't really need to fight anything in this part. You can, but I don't recommend it as there's way too many. They'll swarm you, so it's not worth it to do. Yes, if you kill them, you can get some items, but it's not really worth it because you'll probably burn through way more healing items than you get. And now the big guy comes in. He's actually your best friend for this part. You can kind of kite around him and he'll start hitting the enemies around you, so you can actually pick up their items then. That's why I don't recommend farming them before him, because he'll just, hit everything for you. For some reason as well, his AI is weird, and if you run into the river area where he came from, his AI will sometimes ignore you and just keep running straight and then attack his own allies for whatever reason. So pretty much, just for this part, pretty standard, let the big guy deal with the enemies, and then get shot in the leg with an arrow, and then activate the next cutscene. Now, as running through the village, I don't recommend really gathering much unless it's chem food or herbs. You don't need ammo. You will need a little bit later on down the line, but we'll cover that when we get there. You really don't need any for now. So once that section is over, we got to get to Louise's house. This is actually pretty easy. There is a giant field of Lycans. I think it's maybe 5 or 6. I'm not actually sure of the number, but because cutscenes are broken, when you activate literally anything, just run straight to the door and they'll stop attacking you. You can go out the back into the area and unlock the gate like normal. Now, once you're in the building, you'll have the father-turned-Lycan encounter. Walk towards him, just activate the cutscene sooner. It's scripted, don't fire your gun. I don't know if it would end the challenge. I assume it would, so don't do that. Next, just do the puzzle to get in the castle like normal, escape death, and make it to the first house in the game. But before that, you'll meet Duke. He'll sell you the Karambit, which makes 95% of the game a joke. The castle is also very easy to get through once you've done it a couple times, and it's pretty fast. I will be doing a quick guide on every fight, as well as what to avoid in the castle during this run. But for now, activate the first cutscene where they drag you off like normal, escape from the hooks, get the maroon eye thing, and you can blitz through here real quick. Just take that out from the ring, open the door up top, and have your first real encounter with one of the sisters. So what you want to do is just turn around and immediately go into the breakable wall area, peel off the wall, whatever it is, rip it off. You don't need to actually really fight any of the sisters until their boss encounters or run away. Actually, all the boss encounters in here, you can just kind of run past. This one is no exception. Now, once you're down here, you have the super simple fire puzzle. You can either hit it with your knife, or you can just walk into it and push it and complete it that way. Now, once you're in the jail area, I do recommend killing all of the enemies. With the Karambit, they all die in about one combo. Hit them twice in the head, and they can drop stuff like chem fluid and herbs, so I do recommend picking them up here because they're easy to pick off one by one. So next up is another scripted cutscene with a gun. Now, this will automatically fire. It's part of a cutscene. It won't invalidate your run. It needs to happen in order to defeat the sister. So it'll only take about 5 hits once it actually goes off, but again, when the fight starts, you can't use your gun, only use your knife. After that, grab the bottle of maybe wine and head upstairs to complete the puzzle. Now that you have the courtyard key, run back to where you came from, ignore the sister once again, and head outside. You can farm these enemies for supplies if you want. They are pretty easy to defeat, like the ones in the dungeon. Complete the statue puzzle as seen here, and then descend down. Down here, you have another chance to farm enemies if you want to. I would as well. Just stock up on healing supplies, never hurts to have more. Next up, enter Lady Dimitrescu's room, grab her key, and then she'll throw you through the floor. Once you're down there, you gotta make your way through this dungeon-ish area. It's your first real encounter with her, but no fighting will be done, and you can't even heal when you don't have your arm or your hand or however much you chopped off, so just kind of kite her around, dodge her, open the gate. It's fairly simple to do. Even on Village of Shadows, she doesn't really run fast. The only difference on Village of Shadows with this part in particular is there's like 2 more enemies which can block you, but again, you should be on casual, so it's not an issue. As you ascend up, immediately go to your right and open the door with the key you got from her room. Ignore, kill the random enemies, it's up to you. Complete the piano puzzle and grab the iron insignia key. Head back up to the door you entered from the courtyard. Up the stairs, you're now in the next boss. Also, while it's here, Lady Dimitrescu sort of broke. I don't know why her AI did this, but I guess. Now, the next sister is super easy. Immediately run to the lever, pull it down, have the air, cold air, whatever sun come down that's defeating her, and then just do another, like, 5-hit combo on her and she dies as well. Now, the next room is kind of weird. You do have to use your gun here actually 5 times. You have to shoot the bells here, 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 and here. This won't invalidate your run as you did not shoot at an enemy and instead just a puzzle. And this is required, of course, to get up to the roof. Once you're in there, you can find the sniper rifle. You can sell it for extra money if you want. Extra bag space or extra healing items or really whatever you need, but you don't need to buy any guns or upgrades through this playthrough, so you'll have a lot of extra money by the end. Now, there's a lot of flying enemies. Just run past them. They won't really catch you if you follow this route exactly, or just, run as fast as possible to the zip line, go down, grab the mask. You might get ambushed when you grab the mask if they're fast enough, which they caught up to me, but again, it's like 1 or 2 hits with the knife and you can pretty much just plow through them. Once you're down the elevator, now we'll go back to the maroon-eyed door. This time go straight and have your final fight with the sisters. Now, for this part of the game, it's one of the, again, weird exceptions. You do have to use an explosive. So grab the pipe bomb on the desk in the corner and chuck it at the wall. This won't invalidate your run as she doesn't take damage from anything until the wall is broken. As usual, she's pretty easy to take down, so just grab the animal skull, replace the mask in the other room with it, and now you're on to the main boss. Put all the masks in their pedestal, go through the door, grab the knife, stab the tall lady, and now she's a dragon. This fight is pretty easy. Get up behind her and just keep stabbing her. She'll go down in a matter of like 2 minutes pretty much. Phase 2 is pretty much the same. Just wait for her to break down the wall and then finish the fight as you did before. Once that's done, grab the flask and now we're heading back to the village. Now this next section is pretty fast. You have to go to the area where you get the M1911 as well as the winch for the tractor. It's pretty fast. Puzzle, it's the same code every playthrough, so if you already know it, just go ahead and put it in. I believe it's 040708. Enemies might follow you into the room. If they do, it's no issue, just dispatch them pretty quick. Now this part is actually pretty neat and weird. When you use the winch on the tractor, it automatically activates, and if you just hold the block button and walk backwards into it, as soon as you're able to walk under it, it will immediately just go prone under there, and the AI kind of breaks. This game has a lot of wonky AI, and this is another example of that. Next, just run to the iron insignia gate as normal, block as it's opening, and you don't really have to get in any fight, because as soon as it's open, you can climb the ladder. Next, we just gotta break and enter. Stab a guy minding his own business and rob him for his key, because you need it more than he does. Once you've done that, unlock the gate for a shortcut back to Duke. Now this section has nothing in terms of combat, it's just the same as before. Head to the house and complete the puzzle. Do the boss fight, pretty much, I guess, and then head back to Duke. Now there are some enemies that will appear when you're running back to Duke, but you can just kind of ignore them or hit them for supplies if you want. Next up, we have the Primal Beast thing. This is a pretty easy section, just run through as I did right here. If it follows you or finds you, it's not an issue. Once you hit the breakable whatever this is, you can just run straight through and he'll stop following. Next, once you make it to the windmill, descend to the mines, meet Moreau, whatever his weird name is, and rob him as well. For now, don't head out to the boat, instead go to the staircase and grab the key first, it's just faster this way. Now, you can fight the enemies here, I don't really recommend it. If you've been fighting all the other ones, you should have enough healing supplies for pretty much for the rest of the game. Again, should be on casual, so, if you have like 9, you're good for the entire rest of the game. So just grab the key and run to the boat. This is another cutscene where even if you have like 5 enemies following you, once you activate the boat, they just kind of stop. Next, we say hey to Chris, and we start the next encounter. Evade Moreau's fish form and head into the lighthouse. Break the old crank, jump down, not break your knee somehow, and now we have this section. This is one part where we do actually need to use our gun. We have to shoot this breakable part right here to continue the stage. So I meleeed this part, and then I shot the other part. It does need to be done. Again, it won't invalidate the run. After that, just complete it like normal. Restore power, drain the water, and now we have the boss fight. Same as Lady Dimitrescu, just keep stabbing him anywhere will do, but when he pops out of the mouth, hit him there for extra damage. He'll climb onto the building during the fight, causing acid rain, hide under any roof thing to stay safe, and then finish the fight, grab all the items you missed, and then head back into the mines and grab the key upgrade. Next, Heisenberg will talk to you through the TV telling you where to get his flask. Follow the signs in the village, grab the grenade launcher to sell if you want, and head into the Lycan lair. It's easy enough to run through this area, you just gotta be quick and block when needed. There's too many to recommend killing them since they can gang up and combo you fairly easily, but since you should be on casual, this won't be too challenging, but it's not worth the healing items you might use, as you probably will use more than you find as drops. Now you're in the main part of the lair. Just run as fast as you can to the zipline and head towards the door. You'll be faced with a super Lycan. This part can be pretty tricky, but try to take them on one at a time. One combo will be enough for each of them, but as soon as you have an opening, take it and book it for the door down the stairs. Next, you have to fight the big man himself. This fight requires a lot of blocking and a lot of slashing. Just keep hitting when he jumps down and take out any Lycans that try to come near you, because if they grab you, he can combo you fairly easily off of them because you won't have time to evade his attack. He does have a good bit of health, but he dies the same as any other boss. Just keep hitting him until he stops moving. Now you can grab the flask and move on to the factory, one of the more annoying parts of this run. Now that you're in the factory, just activate the cutscene, get thrown down with the helicopter man, and then just complete the chase sequence. Pretty easy, nothing hard at all. Now the real challenge can begin. This factory has a ton of bootleg Iron Men that will guard their weak spot. Thankfully, most can be avoided if you're quick, but because they are guarding the weak spot, you'll have to kind of slash either through their arm or wait for them to have an opening. For every one of these enemies, just run past them if you can. Now, once you're in the forge, run past the forge a bit into the medical room area, grab the horse relief. The Iron Man will activate. Just dodge him. He usually doesn't follow me into the forge room, but I believe I've had one run where he has. If he does, they're pretty easy to avoid. Just keep running around. Now we're on to the crane-looking things that constantly swing down and hit you. You can break a couple of these with the knife. You can hit them if you're lucky with your timing, but most of these have either just way too high of a hitbox or way too many to really care about. If you do time it right, you can run past all of them, but take out the random enemies first, because if they grab you, then you might get hit by the crane-looking thing. I don't know what they're called, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Now, once you're into the power part of the room where you need the cog mold, run back to the forge once you grab it in this room, and you'll have to deal with another Iron Man. Lead him around the forge as you wait for the cog to smelt. It's pretty easy to dodge him again if the other one chasing in the room. I think this might actually be the same one. I'm not 100% sure, but they're pretty easy to cut around. Just run around the medical tables or whatever they're called. Pretty soon after putting the cog in the slot, keep moving through the factory. The big guy will start chasing you again, but once again, he's very easy to avoid. Once that chase is over, begin making your way to the big fan area. This is another spot where you have to use your gun to shoot the fan's weak spots. Of course, don't use the guns on the enemies. It will invalidate the run at that point. You might have to tank a hit or two at the top, but make your way up the ladder as fast as you can. Now you'll have another spot where you have to use your gun. When the fan starts sucking you into the blades, shoot it before it turns you into confetti. Head down the fan and up the ladder to find the next mold, this time for Heisenberg's key. Unfortunately, this means backtracking all the way to the forge, but with a ton of new enemies now. Avoid as many as you can, but with only a knife, some doors take a few hits to open. Keep dodging everything until you're at the forge. On your way back, you'll have to deal with this behemoth. I managed to squeeze by him fairly easily, luckily, but it might take you kiting him a bit to make it past him. Head back to B1 with the key and get ready to face Sturm. This is one of the worst bosses. So many of my hits never even registered, and being so close to him, he can combo you fairly easily. This is a challenging fight on standard, but not too bad on casual. He does have less HP, but again, he can combo you fairly easily, so just be careful. Once you're done with this fight, Heisenberg will throw you down to the bottom of the factory again, but this is where the coolest boss fight begins. This fight is one of the exceptions for the Knives Out achievement, but only the part where you're in the tank. In phase 2, you have to knife him, but thankfully he does go down fast. And now we're on to the worst section in the game by far. Chris has the same knife we've been using, so make sure to equip it. There's a lot of enemies in the village, but most can be dodged. Grab all the healing injectors you find and keep moving. This road is a challenging one. There's like 20 Lycans and they will swarm you. Chris can take a beating though, so just block and move through any opening you find. You can also kill them if you wish, but that takes extra time. It's not safe. You know, they might start grabbing you. I wouldn't recommend it. Now, this is where the game gets confusing and kind of annoying. You know the laser pointer thing, you have to blow up the tower, the mold around it. You have to use it here, but the game does not mention that this is an exception in the achievement description. It only mentioned Heisenberg fight and the end of Miranda's. But for now, just keep using the laser pointer thing on the tower, running around the statue as you do. Fighting enemies around the statue is pretty easy. You can just keep dodging them, move side to side, back and forth, and they shouldn't grab you usually, but it might take a couple of attempts to blow it up. You can hit them with the knife, but it just takes more time. As well as once you do blast the tower, it will kill all the enemies around you, and this doesn't count for the run, so don't worry about that. Now, once the tower is destroyed, head down the hole, grab the other healing med, and this is where the real final boss of the game begins. You cannot use the laser pointer thing during this fight. It prevents the achievement. That means you have to kill this boss who has like 3 times the HP of Miranda, or at least it seems like he does, with only your knife. Also, you can never hit his weak spot, maybe like 2% of the time when he's in a very specific animation for it to be in reach. Also, you can only hit him like 3 spots, mainly his hand and 1 leg that doesn't have armor blocking it. This fight takes forever, because you're intended to blast him with the Wrath of God, so they give him the HP to withstand those blasts. Without those, have fun with his almost unavoidable attacks and infinite HP. My first run I did for this challenge, I used a laser pointer on him, and it didn't complete the challenge. I spent about 2 hours on standard trying to beat him, but I couldn't because I didn't grab, I believe, the first 2 healing items at the first 2 supply drops. I might have been able to go back, but I don't know if I could have jumped back up that ledge. After the 2-hour mark, I decided to be faster to restart on casual and replay the entire game, so I did just that. Killed the daughters, killed the dragon, and killed an oversized creature from the Black Lagoon, and killed an angry robot. And got back here. Another reason I did decide to restart was because I wasn't even sure loading an old save would work. In RA3 Remake, you couldn't load a save and continually beat the boss for the points reward. The game knows the save file was beaten even if it was reloaded, so I don't want to spend a few hours on standard just to have it not work. I know, I also just suck, but to be fair, the hitbox is small, limited, and he's a gosh dang tank. Anyways, this fight sucks, but rant over. A few cutscenes later and we're at the final boss. Make your way to Miranda. This fight also sucks, but not as bad. Her hitbox is pretty bad, so it can be annoying to damage her when she's in her flying form, but once you deal enough damage, she'll put you into a quick time event where you have to equip your gun and start shooting. This will not invalidate the challenge, as it's one of the exceptions. Keep blasting until she stops existing, and you'll have gotten the Knives Out achievement. This is a long video to make, having to play through the game twice. I hope this helps all of you who might be confused on what is and isn't allowed for the challenge, as it's kind of vague for some parts. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I hope you look forward to all our other Resident Evil content coming on the channel. I'll be back with more challenge runs soon, and if you want to see any in particular, just comment down below and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching, have a good day.